Hello and welcome to another episode of The Really Show. I'm your host, Aaron Ross. Today's show, how long have Muslims been in America? Longer than you think. Hey, if you like the show, we would love it if you would subscribe. How long have Muslims been living in America? To a lot of Americans, the idea of Muslims in the United States seems like a little bit more recent occurrence. But actually, the U.S. had a large Muslim population numbering in the thousands even before it was a country. Hey-yo! So who were these Muslims and why haven't we heard more about them? The majority of them were slaves brought to the Americas from Africa. So not only were slaves brought to the Americas, but Muslims and non-Muslims alike were forbidden to practice their religion and forcibly converted to Christianity. Slaves were separated from their kinsmen who spoke the same language and had the same spiritual customs. So this made it easier to force Christianity on them. But of course, many did practice their true faith in secret. Because of these forced conversions and the need for secrecy, the fact that the U.S. had a large Muslim population at the time has been largely forgotten by history. There was enough clear evidence to show that they were here. Boom! It is interesting to note that originally the enslavers didn't believe that Christians should be slaves. A Christian indentured servant would work for a number of years and then be freed. A non-Christian slave was a slave for life. Of course, slave owners soon realized that if everyone who was converted to Christianity was freed, there'd be no more slaves. But all that was laid to rest when the 1667 Virginia law was passed, stating that conversion to Christianity would, quote, not alter the condition of the person as to his bondage or freedom, and allowing the enslavers to convert men, women, and children, quote, brought or imported into this country either by sea or land, whether Negroes, Moors, mulattoes, or Indians, shall be converted to the Christian faith. So why would the enslavers want to forcibly convert the slaves? Well, not to just spread the gospel, but to have more influence over their slaves. Quote, those who have grown up under such instruction are more honest, truthful, moral, and devoted to their owners' interests than those who have not enjoyed the same advantages. End quote. What the? So here are some notable examples of early Muslims in the Americas. The very first documented Muslim in America is Estevanico of Azamor, a Moroccan slave and guide to Andres Dorantes de Carranza, a Spanish explorer who landed in Florida in the early 1500s. Another whose story gained a lot of attention was Abdul-Rahman Ibrahim, an African prince who was captured during a skirmish with a warring tribe and sold into slavery. He spent much of his life in the Americas as a slave, but eventually made it back to his homeland. He was given his freedom and returned to Africa with the help of John Quincy Adams. His story is told in the 2014 movie Prince Among Slaves. Omar ibn Said, enslaved in America, penned his autobiography, most notably accounting his life as a faithful Muslim. So we see that American Muslims are as much part of the tapestry of the United States as any other ethnic or religious group, an integral part of our history from the very beginnings to today. Of course, Muslims have served in the United States Armed Forces, held political office, and contributed greatly to all avenues of American culture. From comedian Aziz Ansari, boxer Muhammad Ali, boom! Iowa State Representative Ako Abdul Samad, and Minnesota Congressman Keith Ellison. Well, that's all the time we have for today's show. We would love to hear all your comments and questions, so please write in the comments area. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time. From their kinsmen who spoke the lame language, the same sandwiches.